Hello educators, this video will show you how to use the live classroom in the Digital Academy. The live classroom is one of 3 modules that you can use for distance learning. There are other videos that cover the class portal and online lessons. This video will talk about the live classroom. The live classroom allows you to conduct live classes with your students. You can set up a video and audio board that allows you to have video and audio. You can also present slideshows and handouts that all the students will see on their screen. You have a whiteboard in which you can mark up documents and the students can watch, or you can allow the students to mark up documents while the rest of the class watches. You can also share your desktop or record the session and post it to an online lesson. To get to the live classroom, click the Classes link on your dashboard and then expand the class and click the Live Class icon. If you do not see the live class icon, you will need to set up your classroom. There is a video on our YouTube called Configuring Your Online Classroom that will walk through that process. If you are in your class homepage already, you can access the live classroom from there by going to the left menu and then clicking Live Classroom, or clicking Go Live in the upper right. Once you get into the live classroom, you will see the screen below. You will be prompted for options to start the class. You can click Cancel if you went into the live classroom by mistake and didn't intend to start a class. Students will see a blank screen with a spaceship waiting to take off until you launch an activity. To start a class, you will have an option to enable video. To enable video, check the Enable Video checkbox. You will have a number of options then to enable the video. You can determine whether you want to turn on your microphone by checking Audio Only under Teacher, or your microphone and your camera by checking Audio and Video. You can also control whether students are able to turn on their microphone only by checking Audio Only, or their microphone and camera by checking Audio and Video. You can also set it so that students are not able to turn on either their microphone or their camera by selecting None on the Students line under Video Options. You also have a number of options for the students. Students can see Presenter Only means that they will only be able to view the teacher or anyone that the teacher presents. Selecting Whole Class means the students will be able to see all other students who have their video on in the classroom. The video board, you can determine whether students can see the video board or only the teacher can see the video board. If students cannot see the video board, then they will only see a dock at the bottom of each screen that shows a couple of videos, including the teacher's. Finally, you can determine whether the students can control their microphone or whether only the teacher can control it. If it's teacher only, the teacher will need to mute and unmute a student in order to hear them. If it's student controlled, the students will be able to control their own microphone. They will not be able to control anyone else's microphone. If you would like to start recording as soon as you click Start Class, then check the box that turns Recording on. Additionally, you can control who is able to see screen shares. Remote students are students that have been marked as absent or present remote during the daily attendance for the school. Present students are students that are marked present or tardy during daily attendance. Since screen sharing uses a lot of bandwidth, you may not want present students who are physically in the classroom with you to be able to see your screen share. So you can uncheck that and they will not see screen shares. Remote students do need to be able to see screen shares, so you cannot disable that option. Once you launch your classroom, you will see a screen like the one below. On the left side, you have your home page, which by default lists the lesson plan and any materials for the lesson plan. In the middle, you have the Launch a New Activity screen, which is also the area where new activities are displayed. And on the right, you have your file cabinet and access to the Person Finder. Let's look at the left side in more detail. The home screen, as I mentioned, shows your lesson plan. If you do not have a lesson plan, it will be blank. It also shows any materials which you can present to students by clicking Edit or Present Materials. You'll notice at the top you have a number of colored buttons with a number next to them. That lists the number of students who are present in the online classroom in green, or present in the online classroom but on a different tab, which show up in yellow, or not at all in the online classroom. Those are in red. For more details on the students, click the student icon at the top. You will see a list of all the students in the classroom, and you will see a color-coded button next to their name that indicates whether they are in the class and on the class page, in the class but on a different tab, or not in the class. You can click a student's name for more options. You can kick that student out of the class, or if something is handed out, you can view his or her work. You can also mute or unmute students from this screen by clicking the microphone on the right, and you can control whether they can see screen sharing or not by clicking the picture of a screen. If a student hand is raised, it will show on this screen as well, and you can enable or disable that by clicking the Hands Enabled button at the top. Another feature on the left panel is the chat. Clicking the chat button, you'll see the class chat. As a teacher, you can enable or disable the chat. You can also control whether students are able to message everyone in the class or just the teacher. That's controlled by clicking the button at the top that says Students can message whole class or Students can message teacher only. To send a message, you can pick who you want to send it to or pick the entire class, type the message, and then press Enter. When students raise their hands, the teacher will see the hand icon in red. Clicking that will take you to the student list where you will see which student has his or her hand raised. By the hand icon will appear next to the name. You can put the hand down by clicking on the hand icon. You can also put all hands down by briefly disabling hands and then re-enabling it. The last option is to control your video. This allows you to turn your camera on or off. If you are the teacher and the video system was not enabled when you started the class, you'll need to enable it first by clicking Enable Live Video. Once that's done, you will see a screen that lets you pick your camera, your microphone, and your speaker. You can use this to change which camera and which microphone you're using throughout the class by clicking the video button. To launch a new activity, you can click the plus button on the top bar that is circled, or click the New Activity button from your screen, and you will see the screen shown in the middle. We're going to focus on the video board first. To open the video board, you can click the video board icon. Note that if you enable the video board for either teachers or students when you launch the class, it will be opened automatically when you first go into the class. The video board shows you the videos of all the students in the class, and it also gives you controls to determine what the students are able to see and do. The first thing is the drop-down next to Student Broadcast. When you click that drop-down, you'll have three options. One is Nothing or Disabled, which means that students cannot turn on their camera or microphone. If cameras and microphones are on and you select that option, it will turn them all off. The second option is Audio Only. Students will only be able to turn on their microphones. When you see them on the video board, it will show the picture from their profile, or it will just show their initials. If you select audio and video, students will be able to turn on their camera and microphone. Note that this option will not turn it on automatically. The students will still have to turn it on by clicking the camera icon on their live classroom. If you're having bandwidth problems, try moving the class to audio only instead of audio and video, as that uses less bandwidth for everyone. Once you determine whether students are able to use their camera, you need to determine what they're able to see. You can allow them to see only the teacher, or you can allow them to see everyone in the class. That's controlled by clicking the button that says Presenters Only or Whole Class. You can determine whether the students can see the video board itself. If it is not presented, the students cannot see it. You can click the Present button in the upper right to present it, and then students will be able to see the video board, and you will see a green play icon next to the name of the video board, which means that students are able to see it. You are also able to control whether students have the ability to turn their microphones on or off. That's using the Teacher Controls Mic setting. You also have buttons to mute everyone or to turn everyone's mic on. The button that says No Limit will say 1 on, 2 on, 3 on when you click on it. When this is set to 1 on, 2 on, or 3 on, it will ensure that only one microphone or 2 microphones or 3 microphones are on at a time, not counting the teacher. So if you're in a mode where you're controlling the mic, you can unmute a student, and if it's in 1 on, when you unmute the next student, it will mute the previous student. So you don't have to go and mute students and unmute students. You can just turn a student on and let them talk, and it will switch the microphone to the person who is talking and disable everyone else. On the video board, you also have the ability to change your AV source. This is available for the teacher and the students. You have a button to mute and unmute your microphone. And you also have controls which determine how large the videos are on the video board and how many can fit on a board. When you see the videos on the video board, when you mouse over them, you'll have a button to mute the student or unmute them, or present or unpresent the student. If a student or teacher is muted, their video will be outlined in red. If they are presented, their video will be outlined in green. You can click the three dots in the lower right to see additional options, such as the ability to kick the student out or view their work. To present links or materials to students, you need to open the Links and Materials tab. From the New Activity screen, you can click Links and Materials, or from the Home tab on the left, you can click Edit or Present Materials. When you do that, you will see the tab below. It has two sections, Presented Materials and Available Materials. Presented materials are things that the students can see. In this example, there are none. And available materials are the items in your lesson plan that you are able to hand out or present to students. To add new materials, click one of the buttons at the bottom and pick the appropriate material. To present a document, select one of the buttons to the right of the document. If you open it, it will open a tab with that document in it, visible only to you. If you present it, it will open a tab with that document on everyone's computer, but everyone will be looking only at your computer. If you hand it out, it will open a tab for that document on everyone's computer, and everyone will get their own copy, which means that any edits will not be seen by each other. This works with Google Docs as well as PDFs and images. For links, you click the buttons next to the link. Clicking Open will open that link in a new tab on your machine. Clicking Show to Students will have the link appear at the top under Presented Materials. The students can then open it when they want to open it by clicking the link. Clicking Hand Out will open it automatically on everyone's computer in a new tab. When you open a document, you will have the Digital Academy Whiteboard Editor shown below. You'll have a number of options along the top of the screen. The Presented option indicates whether it's being presented to students or not. If it's green, then they can see it, and you'll see a green play mark. Clicking it again will stop presenting it, and so that they can't see it and only you can see it. You can click the Students Cannot Edit button, which will toggle whether students can edit the document or not edit. This option will allow every student in the class to edit it. To edit options individually, click the class list on the left and enable it from there. The Students Can Switch Tabs button will toggle whether students are able to switch between open tabs or whether they are locked to this tab. Locking it to this tab means students can only see this document. Handout will give every student a copy of this document. So if it's a worksheet that you want them to fill out on their own, then you can open it up, review it, and then hand it out, and everybody will have their own copy. Students can switch between pages with the page icons on the right, and they can also save the document to their file cabinet by clicking the Save button. When editing a document, there's a number of options on the left. The plus and the minus with the magnifying glass let you zoom in or out. The selector tool allows you to select a shape to be able to move it, resize it, or delete it. The pencil tool lets you draw, and the AA is the text tool, which lets you write in text. Additionally, you can change your pen color by clicking the color box under the word Stroke. Recording and screen sharing. Recording and screen sharing work very similarly in the live classroom. Both features require you to select a monitor or an application to share. To share a screen to students, click the Screen Share button on the New Activity screen. To record, press Start Recording at the top. In either case, you'll be presented with a window that asks you to share your screen. You can have an option to share your whole screen, and if you have multiple monitors, you will need to pick which monitor you are sharing. You can also share a specific application or a tab within Chrome. Keep in mind that you do not need to share tabs in the live classroom using the screen share. The live classroom shares its own tabs that are launched from links and materials without using a screen share. Screen share is just for when you want to present something that is outside of the Digital Academy, like another site or another application. Also keep in mind that you can record a screen and you can share a screen with students, and you can also record a screen and share it with students. But when you are doing that, it must be the same screen. The screen that is being recorded and the screen that are being shared has to be the same. You cannot record one application and share a different application, or vice versa. To control your screen share, once you start sharing or recording, you will see a red bar at the top that says you are sharing your screen, you are recording your screen, or both. You can stop that activity by pressing the stop button. If you are recording, you can stop recording by clicking the recording icon and it will immediately stop. When you are recording or sharing your screen, you will see a tab that says Screen Share. You will have a number of options. You can mute or unmute your microphone. Keep in mind that when you are recording your screen, it is also recording your microphone, unless you press the mute button. If you are in a live classroom where you are broadcasting your video, mute will mute both for the microphone that's being shared with the class and the microphone that is being shared, that is being recorded. You cannot be talking to your class through the microphone, but not talking through the recording, or vice versa. Present to students determines whether students can see the screen that is being recorded. Note that you can record a screen and not share it, you can share it and not record it, or you can do both. And finally, you can start or stop recording with the button that says Stop Recording on the right. Every time you stop recording, you will see a screen that pops up that asks you what you want to do. You can decide later, which means you don't do anything with your recordings and they'll be saved for 14 days. You can delete the recording, or you can publish the recording. If you click Publish, you'll see a screen come up that asks you what you want to do. Again, keep in mind that every time you start or stop recording, it creates a new file. You will be asked what files you want to save, and you can check them off to save them or uncheck them to not save them. You will then have options as to where you want to save it. Checking My Files will save it in your file cabinet. Checking Learning Module will allow you to build a new stage in an online lesson using these files. If you check Learning Module, you will need to pick which class you are going to create the learning module in. You can select more than one class. You will also need to pick a unit and a lesson. You can opt to create a new unit and a new lesson from this screen. If you do that, you will need to give the new unit a name and the new lesson a name under the Additional Information section. Finally, you will give this stage a name and then press Save. So for example, if you are recording for a class, your unit might just be the name of the class, and the lesson might be materials for the week of, and whatever the week is, and then each stage could be the specific day. So lessons for Monday the 25th. If you select Decide Later, you can manage your recordings by clicking the Manage My Recordings button that's under the Record button at the top. You will see all of the days that have recordings saved, and you will be able to publish them by clicking the Publish button. If you've already published them, you will be able to see where you published the recordings to by clicking the Published button. However, keep in mind that is read-only information. You cannot change where they are published. You can only see where they went. You can go to the online lesson module and edit that if you need to change the files that were published to a class. When you are done with the class, you hit the End Class button, you will also have an option to handle your recordings if you have not dealt with them already. Again, you can discard them, you can save them to your file cabinet, or you can post them to a new class. It's recommended that when you end the classroom session, you select the End and Lock Class button so that students cannot come back into the class at a later time. However, if you need to leave the classroom temporarily, you can leave it open, and you can determine whether you stop recording and whether you disable video and or kick everyone out. Finally, you will need to select where you want to go after you leave the classroom. If you've just saved your recordings to your online lessons, you can go directly to the class lessons by clicking that button, where you can view that they saved properly, or you can reorder them since they'll be put at the bottom by default. That's all for the live classroom. If you have any questions, please email support@digitalacademy.org. Thank you.